welcoming me into your spiritual family this morning. I feel so honored and blessed, and I love the energy in this room. It's ridiculous. I love it. Oh my gosh. I wish I could get to know each and every one of you. But since I only have 20 minutes, I'll just tell you about myself. So I am 9 months and 28 days away from graduating. And I have been doing a lot of reminiscing and reflecting on the people and the places and the situations that brought me here, because it has not always been easy or good, but through the pushing and pulling and supporting of others, my dreams get to come true. And so I've been thinking a lot about my father. And I know it's not Father's Day, but I kind of wanted to share with you a little bit about him, because what I think is so special about what he taught me is that he's this gentle, quiet man who is very stoic, and he doesn't say much. So when he does say something, you want to listen. And I kind of have an interesting experience with fathers in my life. I don't actually know my birth father, my biological father. I still don't know anything but his name. But when I was 17, I left home because it wasn't a very safe environment for me to be in. And so my boyfriend's family let me come and move in with them. And they were really poor. They didn't have a lot, but they had something that I had never experienced before. They had family. And I finally figured out, I finally felt what it was like to be a part of a group of people who had, their intention was greater than just their own. It was to support and to love and to care for the family. And so Steve, the man who I now call my father, he's passed away now, but until I met him, I didn't understand why Jesus called God Father. And then it started to occur to me, I started to feel that divine masculine love. What it felt like to have someone who had such power and force in creation. But the one thing that I want to share with you all this morning that I learned from my father is about the divine rebel. And so our talk title for this morning is An Outlaw State of Mind. And now, I'm not going to be promoting breaking the law or anything. What I mean when I say an outlaw state of mind is this mental outlaw. This energy inside of us that steps outside of the box, that thinks for ourselves, that does things in our own way. And so there's 3 aspects of an outlaw state of mind that I want to share with you this morning. And the first one is, we just don't give a damn. We just don't give a damn. Because for so long I did. I cared so much about what others thought about me. I grew up in a really small town in Arizona, and people really liked to talk about anything and everything that they could. And I didn't want to be that person that they were talking about. And so probably from 12 to 25, I spent my life just living in this box, trying to be what I thought I was supposed to be, try to act and do what I thought I was supposed to do. And I don't know if any of you can relate to this, but I didn't feel like the people around me. My ideas about life, about God, about spirituality, about everything just seemed a little different than everybody else's. And so what I realized is that I was stifling my soul. I was literally suffocating my soul by kind of keeping myself trapped in this box. Have any of you ever felt that way? Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yes. And so what I realized is that we find ourselves stuck in bondage, either mental bondage or this societal bondage, and we're trapped by these invisible ropes that are tying us down. And this inner mental bondage, it could be false beliefs that we've picked up along the way. It could be ideas that our parents, in their own distorted way, thought they were doing the right thing by telling us maybe we weren't good enough, or to settle down, or to keep quiet, or to not play our music so loud. All sorts of ideas come into us at different points in our life or in our age, and they hold us down. They tie us and they tear us apart inside. And then there's this outer bondage that we find ourselves in, this societal bondage, this socioeconomic expressions that are showing up, this religious structures and these familial structures, and we look around sometimes and we realize, oh my God, I'm trapped. I'm stuck and I don't know how to get out. I don't know what to do. I know that this is not me. And so this is where I just don't give a damn comes into play. Because each and every one of us who comes into a center for spiritual living, each and every one of us who's here this morning, we come from a long line of rebels. These mental outlaws who have been stretching and tearing apart the doctrines and social structures that have been holding us down for centuries. One of the greatest examples of this was Jesus, when he would rather go hang out at the water well with the they're the untouchables and the prostitutes, and when he was being called to go sit in a temple with a high priest, and he said, no, these are my people. This is where I belong. And we see this rebellious outlaw again, like in Ralph Waldo Emerson, when he reminds us that imitation is suicide. It's kind of harsh, but it's true, right? Imitation is suicide, and in his call to self-reliance. And we see this mental outlaw again in great women like Emma Curtis Hopkins, who says that there is good for us and we ought to have it. And not only ought we have it, but we ought to speak it and name it and state it and recognize that it is our divine inheritance. This is that rebellious outlaw. And we begin to see that outlaw in ourselves. When we start to look around and finally say, no, I'm done. And we maybe strap on our metaphorical bandana and we say, I am no longer going to buy into what you're telling me. I'm no longer going to live in the perpetuation of my fears and your fears and the accumulation of these fears. They no longer have a place in my body, in my spirit, in my life. This is the spirit of the New Thought movement. This is the spirit of, I just don't give a damn. The second aspect of an outlaw state of mind that I wanted to share with you that I learned from my father was that we make up our own rules. That we make up our own rules. This is kind of like that sky's the limit philosophy, that we are the creators of our own destiny. So I have a question for you. What do Nelson Mandela, Martin Luther King, Mahatma Gandhi, and Susan B. Anthony all have in common? Any guesses? Just shout it out.
Peace.
Yes, besides the fact that they changed the world and all that.
Self-motivated.
Yes, they were rebels, they were outlaws. Each and every one of them was literally arrested making up their own rules. Right? In 1872, Susan B. Anthony was arrested. Why? For voting, because she was a woman in Rochester, New York. But she decided that rule needed to be thrown out and she was going to make up her own rules. So she worked diligently for the rest of her life to see that rule was changed. And although she didn't live to see it, in 1920, the 19th Amendment was passed that stated that women had the right to vote. She made up her own rules. Martin Luther King was arrested 5 times, I believe.
At least.
At least 5 times.